Unyielding souls who dare to listen, welcome to this moment where something powerful shifts in your life. From this very word that I speak right now, you are not here by accident. You are not simply passing through. You have arrived at a threshold, and the title of this message is not just an echo in the wind. It is your new war cry. You just burnt their bridge. No one can cross again. Let that line ring in your bones. Let it settle in your spirit. And above all, let it be known. You turned their entire strategy stupid. You must understand now that burning the bridge behind you is not an act of recklessness. It is a declaration of finality. It is saying to fate and to every adversary, you will not retreat. You will not be lured back into traps. You will not let them use your path as their escape or their weapon. This is not mere revenge or spite. This is clarity. This is sovereignty. You remove any possibility of their return or their manipulation. The bridge you burn is not a point of loss. It is a fortress built from your certainty. From this moment forward, no one can cross again. Not because they want to, but because you no longer allow them the route. You sealed the way. You made their entire strategy silly. Every plan they had, every influence they thought they wielded over you, now looks foolish. When their strategy falls flat, when their tactics collapse, they stare at you bewildered, because you have assumed a posture of such definitive strength that their roadmap is incoherent. This is the place of power, when they cannot trace your steps, when they cannot revise their path to trap you again. Burning the bridge is not burning your options. It is freeing yourself. It is choosing the unknown over the known chains. It is saying, I will chart a new path that no one else dictates. I will refuse to remain in the landscape they designed for me. I will become the architect of my own terrain. In every moment when you feel the tremor of fear, when your instincts want to turn back, when your mind whispers that maybe the bridge was safer, remind yourself, no one can cross again. You have sealed them out. You have given yourself the purest gift of freedom. And let them wonder how you did it. Let them search for patterns that do not exist. Their entire map breaks down. I know from your heart there has been pain. There has been compromise. There have been nights you wondered whether you were strong enough. You have trembled under pressure. You have listened to their voices telling you to return to the comfortable shore. But today, those voices are drowned by the flame you set behind you. Today, the embers of that bridge glow with the heat of your defiance and your clarity. When a bridge is burnt, you cannot go back the same way. You must move forward. That is exactly the kind of transformation this speech demands you embody. Forward is unknown, but forward is alive. Forward is creation, not repetition. Forward is movement, not surrender. Let the weight of the destroyed bridge sink in. No one can cross it anymore. And feel how vastly different your energy becomes. In the silence that follows the blaze, let your own voice rise. Let your own vision stand where their shadows fell. You built this decision. You chose this path. You designed your own crucible, and you emerge from it with scorched resolve. The world around you may recoil at the wreckage, but you stand unmoved because you know you did not destroy to wreck. You destroyed to liberate. Now you must accept times will come when the ash still smokes, when the heat still radiates, when the memory of what that bridge once was aches in your mind. You may long for signs of comfort or familiarity, but you cannot unburn. You must learn to walk across new ground, to build new bridges if you choose, but never over the territory that bound you before. Because every moment you delay reconciling this truth, you give them time to rebuild illusions about you. Every moment you look back is an invitation for them to reconstruct their grasp on you. You cannot undo the burning. You must embrace the cost and own it. Pain is not weakness. Pain is witness. Every scar in your spirit testifies you crossed an inferno, and out of that blaze you stand. You have twisted their design, unweaved their plan, made them question their own assumption that they could control you. You turned their entire strategy stupid. Their lines of attack now strike empty air. Their threats now echo against vacant halls. Their offers now fall like meaningless coins, because you refuse to play their game. You will not trade who you are for hopes in their agenda. You will not rescue them from themselves by returning. This is your proclamation. No more crosses, no more shadows, no more retrace. You have severed that root, and in that severance is your rebirth. In that radical act, you light a brand new future, a future where you choose the battles, where you define the terms, where you claim the authority over your domain. Now consider this. In burning their bridge, you also burn the expectations, the illusions, the false hopes they had in you. They expected compliance, weakness, fear. They expected you to return, to ask forgiveness, to plead. Now they stand aghast because you gave no apology. You offered no retreat. You gave no back door. You gave them finality. Do not pity them. Do not gloat. Let your silence be the gravity that draws their confusion. Let your consistency be the wall that repels their advances. Let your forward motion be the blade that severs old chains. And when they approach, do so with a measured distance, so that they feel the consequence of crossing into territory you closed. Let your boundary be your power. Remember that burning bridges is always dangerous. It demands conviction. It demands unfaltering will. It demands that you be prepared not to return, even if storms lash at your back. You must be ready for loneliness. You must be ready for echoes. You must be ready to walk new roads alone. But in that readiness lies your ascension. You are no longer their project. You are no longer their book, open for reading. You are no longer their map to draw routes on. You are sovereign. You are your own domain. And in this sovereignty you find your dignity again. You shatter the illusion that they were the ones who held the key. You become the key. You become the master of gates. You decide who enters. Now hold your spirit steady. Do not falter when doubts assail you. Do not waver at the edge of familiarity. When the past whispers your name, respond with the flame behind you. Let it be your answer. Let its glow speak louder than your doubts. Let its heat sanctify your resolve. In the coming days, difficult temptations may beckon. Safety, appeasement, compromise. They may say, let's rebuild, let's reconnect, let's talk. But the question demands your steel. Would reconnecting mean conceding? Would rebuilding mean returning into their sphere? If so, then refuse. Because you burnt that bridge for a reason. That reason is not revenge, it is freedom. You owe yourself this. Do not unravel your own act of liberation. Do not soften your line. Do not leave doorways open inadvertently. Guard your distance. Guard your boundaries. Guard your integrity. And as you move onward, build only what aligns with your truth. Build only what matches your deepest values. Build bridges where you choose, not where you feel trapped. You turn their entire strategy stupid. That is not arrogance. It is clarity. Their plan was built on your predictability, on your fear, on your willingness to comply. You ruptured that equation. You became unpredictable. You became sovereign. You shrank the space they occupied around you until it collapsed, and now they must rethink everything. Think of those who saw your path, who tried to forecast your direction, who who plotted your movement. They will scramble. They will misjudge. They will become frantic in trying to decipher where you go from here. Because when a bridge is burnt, the crossing point vanishes. They must find a new terrain to scout. That buys you time. That grants you advantage. Because now the playing field is reconfigured on your terms. You are the disruptor now. Not because you wanted to be, but because you necessitated it. The bridge behind you is gone, irretrievable. You cannot go back. There is no safe route. But that is exactly what gives you leverage. That is your edge. Because they cannot manipulate what is no longer there. They cannot encroach where no crossing remains. In those moments when fear whispers, maybe they'll forgive you if you return. Or maybe you lost something important. Remember this, nothing lost that was tied to your bondage was worth retrieving. What you surrender to them would have cost your spirit. What you salvage from their domain would be a compromise to your sovereignty. So refuse the bargain. Yes, you may carry wounds. Yes, you may feel absence. Yes, you may face voids where connection once lived. But these voids are your canvas. These empty spaces are the raw material for new architecture. Let them see emptiness and fear it. You fill emptiness with possibility. You see voids as invitation. You sketch new shapes of life and power. Let every moment of uncertainty sharpen you. Let every doubt test you. Let every whisper of old comfort teach you how deep your resolve now must be. You are remaking yourself not by fragments of past, but by the fullness of future. You are free to draw new lines, new designs, new syntax of your life. No one can cross again. Let that be your echo in the moments of weakness. Let it be your shield in the moments of confusion. You are sealed behind that act of defiance. You no longer serve their illusions. You no longer orbit their gravity. You are the center now. Now go forth and embody this truth. Do not preach it. Do not brandish it like a weapon. Live it with quiet intensity. Let your calm consistency terrify them more than any outburst. Let your forward motion be unassailable. Let your dignity be your fortress. Let your regeneration be your monument. You burnt their bridge so that you would no longer be choked by their past. You burnt it so that you could breathe. You burnt it so that your wings could stretch unimpeded. You burnt it so that no one else could ever reconstruct a dominion over you. You burnt it so that the only crossing left is the one you build anew. Walk now in that clarity. Walk now in that liberated domain. Walk where no footsteps from behind can catch you. Walk where your vision leads. Walk where your heart tells you to go. And always remember, you just burnt their bridge. No one can cross again. And you turn their entire strategy stupid. That is the truth you carry. Make it your oath. Make it your posture. Make it your existence. And now we stand at the edge of something that is not just a message anymore, but a movement inside you, a primal shift in your identity, a tectonic break from who you were into who you must become. You're no longer echoing strength, you're radiating it. This isn't just about a single burnt bridge. It's about a new law of your being. You do not return to what broke you, and you do not apologize for surviving in a way they couldn't understand. They will talk. Oh yes, they'll say you've changed. They'll whisper about how cold you became, how calculated, how distant. They'll try to convince others that something is wrong with you now. But understand this, when you burn the bridge, they depended on when you tear down the framework that allowed them to access you, manipulate you, or benefit from you without honor. They call that distance cold because it denies them warmth they never earned. But this new fire in you doesn't burn to destroy. It burns to cleanse. This fire is the great purifier. It doesn't just make sure they can't come back, it makes sure you never want to. This fire is your rite of passage. It is what separates those who only dream of freedom from those who walk into it even when it costs everything. Because make no mistake, the moment you lit that match, you agreed to pay the price for your own peace. And it will cost. It will cost comfort. It will cost fake smiles. It will cost proximity to people who once praised you when you were useful and now turn silent or sour when you grow beyond them. But if growth costs you relationships built on convenience, was it ever a loss number? It was clarity in disguise. Now this clarity is your companion. It will guide you through the fog others live in for a lifetime. They'll question how you see so far ahead now. They'll wonder how you knew to move before things collapsed. What they won't admit is that your intuition grew sharper when you stopped betraying yourself just to belong. That's the hidden truth they don't teach. When you burn a bridge that connects you to pain, confusion, manipulation, betrayal, you don't become more alone, you become more aligned. And when alignment happens, you begin to attract not noise, but signal. Not drama, but destiny. Not confusion, but calling. Every step you take from here echoes. Even when you walk alone, you are followed by the sound of certainty. People can feel it. They won't understand it at first, but they'll feel it. The way you talk now sounds different. The way you move is firmer. The way you say no is not cold but final. The way you say yes is not desperate but deliberate, because you are not operating out of fear anymore. That's what scares them most. People who once counted on your uncertainty to control the rhythm of your life are now paralyzed because they don't know your next step. That's the gift of burning the bridge. You become unreadable to those who only knew how to play games. This isn't a trend. This isn't a mood. This is your foundation now. You've stepped into the identity of someone who doesn't just burn bridges to escape. You burn them to evolve. You don't look back at the flames with regret, you watch them with reverence. Because those flames were the first light to show you who you really were underneath the roles and masks and compromises. You were never meant to live bound by the expectations of those who feared your potential. You were never built to be digestible to those who couldn't handle your depth. And the moment you realized that, the moment you saw the smallness of the cage they had for you, the only thing left to do was set the exit on fire. And that fire, it changed everything. The silence you now walk in is sacred. It is not loneliness. It is liberation. It is a space where your voice grows louder without needing to scream. It is a place where your ideas finally breathe without fear of being filtered for someone else's comfort. Here's what they'll never admit. They knew you had this in you. They just hoped you'd never realize it. They saw the storm in you long before you did. That's why they tried to tame it, label it, contain it. Because once you let that storm move freely, once you gave yourself permission to burn the bridge and keep walking, they lost control of the narrative. And now, you are the narrative. You don't just speak power, you embody it. You don't just reject their strategies, you make them irrelevant. You turn their entire strategy stupid, not by shouting, not by proving, just by becoming. Becoming what they never prepared for, someone they can't access, manipulate, or define anymore. So now let's make something clear. You don't go back, ever. No matter how hard the storm ahead, no matter how tempting the familiarity behind you. You didn't burn that bridge just to warm your hands. You burned it to light the path to a self that can't be caged. There will be nights when that decision haunts you, when memory tricks you into missing what never really loved you. That's okay. Let memory speak, but let truth have the final word. The truth is, You did what they wouldn't. You ended the cycle. You broke the loop. You closed the portal. You faced the fire and walked through. Most people never do. That's what makes you rare. And rare people live rare lives. Yes, it's lonelier. Yes, it's quieter. But it's yours. And every inch of it is claimed, not borrowed, not inherited, not gifted. Claimed. Through struggle, through pain, through defiance, through self-trust. You will rebuild from here, not fast, not flashy, but with sacred precision. You will construct a new empire, brick by conscious brick. And this time, the foundation will be truth, not tolerance. Conviction, not compliance. Fire, not fear. And when you build bridges again, because you will, they won't be to please or appease. They'll be extensions of your values, your purpose, your soul. And only those worthy of walking with you will be allowed to cross. Because now you understand. Access to you is not default. It's earned. So keep walking, even when the ground trembles, even when the past calls your name, even when the flames flicker behind you like ghosts. Let them flicker, let them burn. Let them remind you that every time you doubt your path, there's no way back for a reason, because you've crossed into a future that only the brave can claim. And you are brave beyond belief, because you burnt the bridge, you did the unthinkable. And now, no one can cross again. Let them watch, let them wonder, let them realize too late. You turned their entire strategy stupid, and you never needed them to begin with. So what happens now? What happens when the bridge is gone, and you're still standing there, the flames behind you slowly fading into the silence? I'll tell you, you start hearing yourself again. Not the voices of their expectations, not the noise of their schemes, not the haunting doubts they planted in your mind to keep you small. You hear you, and at first, your voice might tremble. It might sound unfamiliar because you silenced it for so long, just to keep peace, to keep connection, to keep a version of life that didn't demand too much from you. But now, there's no one left to appease, no story left to protect, no image left to maintain. There's only truth now, and that truth is this: they never built you. They never owned you. They only shaped your hesitation. They only survived on your second guessing. They only won as long as you didn't know how much you were worth. But the moment you realized your value, the moment you stopped negotiating with your peace, their entire castle crumbled, not by force, but by clarity. That clarity was the match. That realization was the spark. And everything since then has been a blaze of transformation. Don't let anyone romanticize your past. Don't let them tell you, maybe it wasn't that bad, because it was. If it hadn't been, you wouldn't have needed fire to end it. You tried words, you tried kindness, you tried boundaries, you tried forgiveness. But they kept crossing, they kept testing, they kept assuming your silence was submission. So you showed them silence isn't weakness, it's warning. A warning of the fire to come. And then you lit it, without fanfare, without spectacle, just certainty. You burnt the bridge, and no one can cross again. They will try new routes. They will send messages through others. They will rewrite history to make themselves look innocent. But the truth won't leave you. You don't need revenge. You don't need to correct the record. The ash speaks louder than anything they say now. Because the bridge is not just a symbol of separation, it's a symbol of transformation, of ending the cycle that stole your energy, of reclaiming your authority, of deciding that your peace is not negotiable. That's what scares them the most. Not that you left, but that you aren't coming back. They plan their strategy around your patterns, around your kindness, around your predictable heart. But you shattered the pattern. You changed the rules. You vanished from their map. And now their entire strategy is stupid.